Hey y'all, Joefer here, the cranky old gay guy. Whew. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and it's 94 degrees in my backyard in the shade. It is a sweltering, sweltering day, I'm telling you. Now the wind's coming up, but I guess unless I'm sweaty in the wind, I'm not going to cool down. Today's subject is this new racist, dare I say, movement called Return to the Land, or RTTL. And what that is a group, right now there's 40 families living in this place. They bought property in the Ozarks in Arkansas and are building a whites-only town. That's right. In 2025, a group of white nationalists and super Christian, because that's the only religion they allowed in town too, are building a space to preserve white culture and white family values. Can you buy into that? I cannot. Okay, let me read about it for you. I'll read to you about it. This is reported by Sky News. It's a news outlet. Sky News is big in the UK. I'm guessing it is in Europe as well. And there's about a 20-minute, I think, pseudo 20-minute mini documentary on this place where they talk to the founders, they talk to the women that live there. They're looking to make it white men with their traditional wives. Now, they did interview one of the women and asked if they were being kind of guilted into having kids, and she said no one's making me have children. And then I think she added something like, but why wouldn't I have children? Because the interviewer asked if you were being pushed to have multiple children, and she said that, no. And then she said, why wouldn't I want to have children? And he said, you want more children to make sure that your community grows? And she goes, well, yes. And that's what one of the men that they talked to, I believe he's the one of the leading founders, because he did a lot of talking. He's blonde haired, blue eyed, pasty white, and very anti-mixing cultures or races. To get into this town, he said that, this is America. Why shouldn't I be able to decide who my neighbors are going to be? You get to decide where you live. Why don't I get to decide who gets to live next to me? That was one of his little things. And the interviewer was saying, well, isn't that racist? And he said, why would it be racist? And I think in the end he goes, well, yeah, I guess it's racist. But, that's okay with him in the current American situation. Now, this is what makes me cranky. Not that they want to build something. That's fine. You should be able to get property, build a compound, build an estate with multiple homes. That's totally cool. But when you want to call it an American town or American city, that's against federal law. Now, I looked it up. Okay, where did it go? I don't even know how I got on this. But I looked it up, and I'll read it to you. No, segregation by race is still illegal under federal law in the United States. While the Trump administration removed the explicit ban on segregated facilities in new federal contracts, this action did not legalize segregation. Federal laws like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 continue to prohibit discrimination and segregation in public accommodations and employment. However, that's not covering personal space. In most towns, there are laws, rules, something in the city statute or the city charter that say you cannot discriminate based on religion or color of the skin. This group not only puts you through the ringer if you want to live there, and why would you want to live there, but they also check your genealogy. So if you have a Jewish great-great-great-great-grandmother, you're out. If you have a person of color anywhere in your timeline, you're out. This is right back to the one-drop law that was in place after the Emancipation Proclamation. So when slavery stopped, if you were of mixed race and you were totally Caucasian looking, if there was a history of blacks in your background, you were no longer white and you were treated as if you were a person of color. And that's what this group is wanting to do. So that's what made me cranky today. I would suggest, go there, that if you're interested in seeing this documentary, go to Sky News on YouTube. They have a channel. And in Instagram, you can also type in Sky News Whites Only Town, like in the US, and it'll show the clip there as well. I'm looking at it right now as I talk. And this came out, I think, 2 or 3 days ago through Sky News. The people founding the town, like I said, only have 40 families there right now. They bought 160 acres. And once you go down that rabbit hole and look, there are lots of people who are reporting on this now. And there's a lot of clips coming up that have nothing to do with this particular town, but like how a black truck driver who's dumping mulch at a landfill gets set upon by white guys that are working there and white guys that are dumping, and not letting him get out of his truck and threatening to hurt him if he does, and to get out because people of color are not welcome there. And that took place, I think, in Arkansas too, and that's why when I did a search, it popped up. I also found that there are like 3 other towns in the process of forming that will be whites only. One of them is in Eastern Oregon, and yes, that's my state. When I looked into that, I couldn't tell if the story was satire or not. I know that the city is called La Pine, L-A Pine. The picture they showed, you know, welcome to La Pine, and it said the whitest city in America, or welcome to White City, or whites only, or something like that. So I know that's fabricated because they wouldn't put that up. But then they talked about city council and how the city council voted unanimously to move towards making this a whites only town. Again, I don't know if it's true. It was a legitimate like news page from a regular newspaper. And I mean, I guess they could have faked the IP address or something to put that in there, or the URL, but it sounded really real. And then it said Joe Blow got up in the audience to make his statement, and it was pure satire. His statement was pure satire because he was saying all sorts of just crazy stuff like you hear on The Onion. But that's the only part of the article that sounded fake. It's disheartening to know that they would want to do that, but that part of the state has been wanting to secede from the rest of the state for some time and become a part of Idaho because they don't like the fact that we have a governor who is a Republican and a lesbian. Now, Idaho, they wouldn't take them. Politically, they want them, but that part of the state doesn't really do much as far as taxation goes. So Idaho wouldn't benefit from anything. They would just harm them because now their resources would be spread even thinner to accommodate pretty much 3/4 of the state of Oregon. So that's not happening. Plus, the entire Oregon legislature would have to say it's okay, and the federal government would have to say it's okay. That one, they might, currently. Yeah. I have a sibling who moved out of Idaho just across the border into Oregon because of the politics of Idaho and what's happening there. Even though they're pretty close to Boise, which is the most liberal city in the state, I guess. But and then I also have a sister who lives not in La Pine, but in that region. And it's pretty conservative too. Now with La Pine, when they say they want a whites only city, I am guessing that it's pretty much a whites only city anyway. And the move is just to make it the law, because I can't imagine a person of color wanting to live over there and be the only person of color in a city that seems pretty Caucasian to me and pretty Christian. I'm not knocking Christians. I'm just saying that it's one of those towns where everyone is the same, and if you're not, you stand out and you might not be as welcome as everyone else. So that's what made me cranky today. Now I'm going to go ahead and post this again. If you want to hear about this town, type in "Return to the Land Movement" in your search engine, and it will take you to articles explaining what it is, and it'll talk about the town as well. Again, if you want to see the mini documentary, go to Sky News on YouTube, or just type in your search engine RTTL, Whites Only Town, Sky News YouTube. All right, I'm going to let you go. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Hopefully tomorrow I will, I'll go to the river. That's what I want to do, because I don't have anything scheduled. Oh, and one more thing. In August, the podcast awards are out and about. And I've mentioned the older and an older gay guy show hosted by Joey Hernandez before. And in fact, I did a whole tribute video to him and his show. He's north of Boston, I think an hour to 3 hours, something like that. But I am going to be interviewed in 2 weeks. And then I'm going to be, his podcast with me is going to be playing during the podcast awards, which I think are the last week of August. If you want to know more about that, you could go to An Older Gay Guy show. Not me, but An Older Gay Guy show on YouTube, and I'm sure he's talking about it because he's been promoting the podcast award thing for a while. Or you could download a podcast on wherever you go to download your podcasts and type in An Older Gay Guy show, because he does mention it in, I think, the beginning and the ending of every episode. All right, I'm going to let you all go. Hope all is well on me. This is healing up pretty good. I'm still putting salve on it, like Vaseline, just to keep the skin soft. The doctor said that that will help it heal, and it also gives you a barrier against germs. I think it's been long enough. I don't need anything on it, but if I'm out in the sun, I would rather not have this scar dry out, because then it will scar more. All right. Wow, I'm just talking on forever, aren't I? I will let you go then, and have a great evening. Bye-bye.